Hi, going live again. Here we are. Oh man, I have my other camera set up real good here, and now it's not so good. That's the thing about going live. You get to see all the effing around. Lots of effing around. Oh, here, let's pull you in here. This is my buddy Jose Morte. Can you see him? No, not really. You can see part of his bones. Okay, TikTok. Hi, look at all the people who are joining. Hello. I'm DeborahAnn Cachia. We're back here again, working on beautiful death. I'm not going to fix this. Look at that. This whole thing all crumbled inside. So terrible. But, this is my spokesperson. One Black Princess Golden Family invites you to co-host with another creator. Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, it disappeared. I don't know how to join. Say hi. Okay, well, I don't know how to join because I'm just new at this liveness. Well, maybe some other time, but oh, so many people joining. So nice. Okay, listen. I decided to recreate these hands. I'm over this whole situation. So hands is what we're going to be doing today. Yeah. So I'm putting all of this stuff aside. And I was thinking about talking about what should we chat about today? My daughter gave me a really good idea. How to navigate the spiritual realms and the Is that you, Isaac? Hi. Oh, I love it. Thank you. Thank you for joining and liking and oh, another person. Oh yeah. Hi, Isaac. Fun. Thank you. Thank you for coming here and hanging out. Yes, I want to talk about navigating the spiritual and the physical. So I came in really connected to the spiritual side of like where we came from. I actually, and I know a lot of people argued with me, but I don't need to prove this to anybody. I don't need the validation because I know what I know, and even science gets disproven. You know, when a new science comes and proves something else, it's always people trying to prove something. I'm not trying to prove anything. I do not have any interest in trying to prove anything to anybody, but I'd love to share my experiences because maybe you're having similar experiences and maybe you don't know how to navigate the spiritual and the physical. And, you know, I worked in the service industry for oh man, like over 30 years. First, I worked in a salon with my friend, and she owned quite a few salons, and then after that, I was a tattoo artist. So since in my early 20s all the way through to my, I would say mid 30s, I worked in salon and in hair, and then after that, I was a tattoo artist. So for another, I don't know, almost 2 decades, I was tattooing. Um, yeah, one of the biggest things that people like, it's quite an intimate thing to be a tattoo artist because, and hairstylist, or working with anybody like up close. Specifically, I would say tattooing even more so because when someone is in pain, they're vulnerable. And, you know, it's kind of interesting. It's like hairstylists, I know hairstylists for sure all can relate to almost being like somebody's therapist. People still acknowledge how creatively unique your tattoos on my body are. Yeah, that's so awesome, Isaac. I love that. Right on. Right on. That makes me feel so good, to hear that when my art is out there, and I don't know what happens to my art once it leaves. It's gone. It has a life of its own. I think that's the coolest part about tattooing was, like your art has a life. Like it's on someone's body. So they're out there in the world and they're living a life. They're actually experiencing um a life. So it's like my art has become a living thing. And it's interesting because I'm working on death. And the more I work on this death for the last 2 years, it's like the more in touch with life I have become. I mean, like 26 years ago, I directly experienced infinity. So I experienced eternity. I experienced outside time and space. It was like the veil was lifted and I got to see infinite consciousness and the universe, like what is behind all of this. And I don't want to say behind all of it because it's the source of it. It's infinite consciousness, and that consciousness, it seemed like it was like, I would like to say, was vibrating at a 5 frequency. So like a love frequency. So the universe is literally made of love, and everything right down in this little toe bone I made is an expression of that divine love. It is, it's divine and perfect. And so to get to that point of directly experiencing the infinity, the reason why I was able to do it was because for the whole, since I was 12 or 13, I was trying to end my nightmares, and my sister and I, oh, you know what? I need to get a tray. I like working on the ground, by the way. I made this little table so I could sit on the ground. Okay, the floor, not the ground. I mean, I'm not outside on the ground. Yeah, so basically, over many years, really practicing lucid dreaming, my sister and I became such powerful, incredible lucid dreamers. I don't know if y'all seen the movie Inception. We were like kind of like an Inception level type of dreaming. But what's more freaky, oh my God, is that like the daytime and the night times merged. So it didn't feel like we ever were out of the dream. We were in a consistent dream all the time. And so this is a dream. It's just that the reason why it feels more solid is because we're a central point of consciousness looking out. Like if you imagine it as a circle, we're a singular point of consciousness in a sea of infinite consciousness. And every single thing is in a different point of the universe in this consciousness. And it's peering out of this circle at a different point. So there's infinite points on a globe, on a circle, infinite points. And when you're dreaming, these points kind of shift. And so that's why sometimes when you wake up and the dream is very, like, you can't really, like, it made sense in the dream, but then when you wake up, it's like your brain can't make sense of it. It's because, like, when we're awake, I might be looking out at this point, and when I'm sleeping, I'm looking out at this point. So when I come back to this point, it kind of can't really bridge that massive of a gap, like, in consciousness. So what makes this more solid now, and this is a dream, is that we're all looking out from the same point of perspective. So of course each one of us is individual and unique, so it differs slightly, but because we're holding it together as a collective, we need to do that so that we can have an actual story that's congruent, so it has a beginning and an end, and all of us can, interact in this realm together. And you see, this is where I believe we can change the world, because if we all do the healing work, we all do the shadow work, we all look within, we all really take on expanding our own consciousness, expanding our own growth, expanding our own being, to me, it would be inevitable that this world will shift. We've got to respect grounding techniques. Floor time is happy time. Yeah. Yes. Right, Isaac? Yeah, man. I love it. I moved from a house into a basement apartment, and I love it. I'm like right on the earth. I loved my old house because it didn't have a basement. So it was about 5 feet above the earth, but I'm like right on the earth down here, and I love it. I love it. It's like a little cocoon. It's very cool. So now getting back to balancing the spiritual and the physical. All right. So you know what? Honestly, you could literally lose your mind. You can literally, I could have lost my mind. I kind of actually did, because I had really severe PTSD, and it felt like my brain was hijacked. And thank God I did do all of that dreaming work, and I did do all the spiritual work, and I did do like all the different kind of healing modalities and stuff like that when I was younger, because I was able to use all the tools that I had learned to heal and recover and come out of having such intense, crazy PTSD. Man, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I say that all the time. It's like, it's the worst. Okay, so I'm going to move this guy over here. Okay, and then, so it was pretty cool back in the day when I was really doing like crazy lucid dreaming and awareness stuff. I was also training martial arts, and I was training more of the principles than the actual fist art. And I was doing calligraphy and line work, and I was using the principles of the kung fu and stuff that I learned, and was applying them to drawing and line work. And so, which was amazing, because I ended up having amazing line work in my tattoos. And yeah, And speaking of groundwork, Isaac said, got to respect grounding techniques. Floor time is happy time because grounding is everything. So during the whole time I was in the hair salon, and I was also then doing tattoos and having these really amazing conversations with people. The one thing I heard over and over and over and over again was people wanted to be more spiritual, but they didn't know how. And the other thing was they wished that they were more creative or could be an artist. And they really wished that they could draw or be an artist. And so, you know, I had a lot of time to think about this kind of thing. And how to be more spiritual, how to be an artist. And I was like, you know what? Like the two of those two things are actually one and the same thing. And I know that kind of doesn't make sense, but like if you think about it, creator, infinite consciousness is creating infinite reality. And we are basically God's art. Like I am art. And so then here as a singularity, as a single point of consciousness, I am whatever I do, every single solitary thing that I choose to do is my creation of my creating this life. It's my creating my reality. That is art. That is art. And every choice we make is art, ultimately. So it's wild because I had a really wild experience with my old house. I'm going to backtrack to when I was a child. When I was a child, I saw everything as alive, and everybody said, no, it's not alive. Your dolls are not alive. The tables are not alive. The chairs are not alive. And I was like, yeah, you say that, but I gotta disagree. Like in my mind, everything to me was alive. And I didn't believe anybody. I was like, yeah, you say that, but yeah, whatever. I was one of those kids that I had to prove it to myself. Like I wasn't going to just take what people said at face value and be like, yeah, okay, that's what it is. I was like, no way, man. Like to me, everything is alive. And so after I saw Infinity, I know everything is alive. Oh my God. Everything has consciousness. Everything has, and everything holds memories. And I didn't know this, but I took this course or whatever. And I actually, when I touch things, I can't remember what it's called, but like you get images or you get like memories and stuff like that from touching things. I was always very sensitive. There were certain chairs I would never sit in. Maybe something bad happened in them. I don't know. But yeah, I'm sorry. There's a couple of people that wanted to co-host with me and join. I don't know how to do that. But I don't know if I'm ready to co-host with somebody. This is my third time ever going live. Let me get a handle on this and then we'll co-host. And thank you for wanting to join me. I'd like to meet you too and talk to you sometime. So I love it. I love you people coming and joining me. Yeah, right on, man. It's fun. Fun having you here, Isaac. Okay. We are going to make this hand very different. Let me just sidetrack away from the spirituality and whatnot. This hand, like that's basically what was just happening. This is the wobbly fingers or whatever. And I'm like, no, that just does not work. So, I mean, there was string inside holding it, but so I'm going to actually I'm going to wire it. I'm going to make the whole hand wired. And then that way it will be, let me see, I need one of these balls because this ball I think fit right in here. Yeah, see, I want it wider. I want the ball to fit right in there. I guess I had one of the smaller balls. Yeah, even that doesn't fit in there that great. I did a lousy job on these hands. That's the thing, like, oh, there goes that ball. Bye. Okay, so we'll keep that there. All right. 16 hearts. Thanks for the hearts. So sweet of you all to join me and give me hearts. Akita! Hi, my daughter's with us too. Oh, that's fun. So, Akita, the topic you gave me about navigating the spirit realm and the physical realm, I've been talking about it. I was just to backtrack a little bit, was saying that I know you know this because I've told you before or whatnot about consciousness and how we're living in an infinite sea of consciousness, and that everything is a creation of the divine and everything's made of love and whatnot. And so my sister and I, we got to be such profound lucid dreamers that we did some crazy, crazy stuff. Like one time we ran through a forest barefoot in the night up in the escarpment. And I mean, there's like caves and holes, and there's, I mean, like, I look at it now, I'm like, I would never do that now. I'm not at that level of consciousness. I have stepped a little bit out of the dream realm and really grounded myself here. And so it's an interesting topic to talk about because we have to be very grounded if you're going to do any kind of real serious spiritual work. And the reason is that assemblage point that I was talking about, like when you shift perception as a dreamer, you develop that dreaming body. It becomes more easier to shift at that point. And that's how you manifest things at will, just like that. True alchemy is really all about the assemblage point. And if you want to know more about all of that, read Carlos Castaneda books. His teacher, Don Juan, a native Mexican from Mexico. Oh my God, it's the most amazing stories ever. And of course, there's freaking on YouTube. I saw this video. They're trying to make him out to be some kind of kook and whatnot. And I was like, you know what? Even if he did make up those stories, my sister and I literally were doing things that defied logic. And we read those books, and they're based on truth. They were saying that they caught him in the library, doing research. I had real experiences, and I still research things. I manifested things that defy logic. I was able to control the weather because I am and still am able to talk to the wind. I don't play with that often because there's dangers in that. But like one summer I was like, oh, I want this summer to be so hot and perfect. And it was hot and perfect and was the worst drought ever. Entire forests died, and that was the end of that. I was like, I'm never playing with this again. I'm never going to play like that. It's just completely inappropriate to do. So, but the most profound and most amazing thing I manifested, more profound and amazing than that, was a pair of boots. I talked about this in my live yesterday or the day before, and how I wanted my boots to be brand new, and I didn't have any attachment to it. I was going to paint them and make them cool in another way. And I came back and they were brand new. And like, I was like a crazy person laughing, like, what the hell just happened, man? Holy shit. It was the fucking coolest thing ever. So when you start to actually become like a crazy wild lucid dreamer like that, there are things that I would suggest doing, and that's preparing your space before you go to sleep. You have to connect with a spirit team and your higher self. You have to call in for protection, because there are dark and bizarre things in the universe that can latch onto you and attack you. I've just spent the last 3 years removing dark entities and helping them go to the light. And you know what? Like, there's nothing to be afraid of. Fear actually feeds them and gives them more energy. And I've learned that they basically they really, really believe that they're helping us. They have a reason that they've latched onto us. And so I just send them to the light. Some of them don't want to go. Some of them are like sticky. But I've done a lot of this work with my doctor, and he's not a quack. He's fucking amazing. I don't know if I'm going to say his name. I don't think I should say his name, because I don't want people to think he's a weirdo. I don't care if you think I'm a weirdo. I am a weirdo. Okay, so I'm making a wireframe for this hand. I'm going to make this whole hand out of polymer clay, but I'm actually wiring it so that it's not floppy and I can move it and put it into positions and stuff like that. So, okay. I don't really know what I'm doing, to be honest. I don't want to put all these together. I generally don't talk and do these things at the same time, because I'm not much of a multitasker. But I really want to share my process with everybody. I want to share everything. Okay, so grounding. Doing things that are like martial arts is very grounding. Yoga, I would say, is somewhat grounding, but yoga actually puts you in your body, and so that is grounding. I find martial arts is a little more grounding, because it's like more impact and more like doing weights. I find is more grounding. Eating root vegetables is very grounding. Meditations where you imagine roots going into the earth. I had DeborahAnn King, this amazing psychic energy work. If you ever get a chance to work with this woman, she's amazing. DeborahAnn King. She said to me, "You're only as powerful as how grounded you are," and that is the truth. Totally the truth. So, yeah, do a lot of grounding and stuff like that. To develop your dreaming body, I mean, how I did it basically was I tried to fall asleep awake, so I would be sitting up all night. And I mean, I was only 12 years old, and what I didn't know and realize was my sister and we were going into deep states of meditation. We were we were 12 and 8 years old, and we were meditating all night long. We weren't sleeping, we were meditating instead. And so we've spent many, many years doing that. And so by the time I was 20, I was, holy, what was I doing? I was like, life got to be a little scary. I'm not going to lie. Life got, like we need, what do we need? We need congruency. We need predictability. We need, like, it gives us a sense of safety. It's like, you don't want to wake up and be somewhere else. Like, you want to wake up in your bed. That's safe. Like, you don't want to wake up and have a different family. You don't want to wake up and, you know what I mean? Like in dreams, the weirdest shit happens. And so, you want to be super, congruent. That's the only word I could think of. Consistent, congruent. There's another word I'm trying to think of, but I can't think of the word. Yeah, can you imagine waking up and you'd be like in another freaking town? It would be very disturbing. In fact, when people do see things that are not the norm, like if you see a ghost or if you see anything paranormal, UFOs, or I don't know, like just anything that's not our day-to-day three-dimensional normal perception, people often have gotten sick or, like throw up, or their brains just literally actually shelf it. They can't even remember the experience. Like, we need consistency that much. Like, if it's not consistent with our reality, it can make you actually feel like actually crazy. So it's important to stay grounded. And if you are getting into lucid dreaming or anything like that, I astro projected once, and I'm not going to lie, it was actually scary. And it's interesting that it's weird to me that I don't astral project, but I lucid dream, like, still to this day. I mean, I spent many years to try to actually stop dreaming. I did end my nightmares at 30, and then I willed myself to stop dreaming for quite some time, and I did actually stop dreaming. But till this day, if my dream is, let's say, starts to turn into a nightmare or is negative or crappy, I literally would be like, okay, this is crap. No, time to wake up. And I wake up. Like, I know that I'm dreaming. It's consistent for me to know that I'm dreaming. So look at that. I made a wire. That's going to be the base of my wire hand. I'm showing it down here because you can't see it on my black. See my face. Lots of people join. Hi. Isaac. Yep, just you and Akita, Isaac and Akita in YouTube. So yeah, just for people, like, when I'm looking down here, I'm looking at YouTube, and when I'm looking up here, I'm looking at TikTok. I'm live on both platforms at the moment. So I really don't know how to tell how many people are in my TikTok group. It doesn't show me till later, which is kind of good because if there was like a million people watching me, I might be nervous. But right now it just says 3 people have joined, and I can handle that. I actually took coaching courses, and part of the courses we had to be down in New York 4 times for 4 different weekends, and the class was 300 and something or whatever. And when I look at my analytics afterwards, I had 426 people yesterday and 460 the day before. And I thought about that group. I thought about the 3, like literally, there was over 300 people, 350 maybe. And I thought of that, the size of that group, and I had to stand up and talk in front of that group. And it's funny because when I'm talking, I'm okay. When I sit down after that, my body starts like rumbling inside. I'm like, ugh. And I'm hanging out with all these people here, and I know that there's more than just the 3 that's showing. And man, like last night, my body did get a little vibrating. I was like, "Whoa, this is a rush! I love it! I love it! I love it! I'm so honored, and I am so grateful for you all to join me, and to show interest in what I'm doing or saying. It's very beautiful. I'd love it if you guys commented a little more and let me know where you're from, or who are you, or what do you find interesting about what I'm saying? Do you find I guess if you're staying here, you're finding what I'm saying interesting. Okay. Yeah. All right. And so for newcomers or people who have just come on here or weren't here for the last couple of days, what I'm doing is I'm recreating the hands of death. You can go back and look on my videos, and I have a Halloween video. And I had to dismantle this whole thing because the whole neck fell apart, and I guess I just didn't do it properly, or I didn't let the polymer clay cure properly or something. I don't know. I don't know why it crumbled like that. I've never had that happen before. So I have to fix that. And this is, my hands are just like floppy, stupid things. So I'm actually making a wire base, and I'm recreating the hands. I'm going to redo them. And I think I'm going to redo the feet as well. So, because, I mean, maybe not. I think maybe what I'll do with the feet is just wire it. It's just that I don't think I'm going to be able to get the wire through here. So that's a problem. So yeah, I'm going to probably just do the feet again. Do the feet and hands again. In the long run, I will be much happier about it, because this is going to be, my comic book series is all about the dreaming, and death is one of the main characters. So why death? Well, why death? When I was a kid, I was really stressed out, and my dad said to me, "Are you going to be thinking about this on your deathbed?" And I was like, "What?" He was like, "You're dying. You have 1 or 2 minutes left." He goes, "Is this what you're going to be thinking about?" And I was like, "No." And I started laughing, and he goes, See how unimportant it is? It's like, oh my God. So smart. And forever after that, anytime I was stressed out about anything, or anytime I had some major decision, or anytime I thought like about pretty much any life event or something important, or if it was stressful or whatever, I thought about death, and I thought, will I be thinking about this on my deathbed? Or on my deathbed, will I have regretted this choice? Or if I make this choice right now, is this going to be a great choice that's going to bring me closer to where I want in the future? And so then when I'm on my deathbed, we'll be like, I made the right choices. So death became my advisor. And since then, I have had a lot of insights and a lot of epiphanies and a lot of spiritual kind of experiences around death, life and death. And then after I saw infinity, my dreaming body was the thing that actually got me to see infinity, because I basically was willing to die to know the truth. I was at a spiritual retreat and I wanted to know the truth about the dark and the light, like the good and the evil. I wanted to end suffering since I was about 8 years old. And I was willing to die to know the truth. And I think it was that death, that moment, that of like complete surrender to know the truth, that my body, my dreaming body literally separated from my physical body, and it sat there and was looking at infinite streams of light. And my physical body heard my dreaming body saying, I'm standing in front of the gates to the kingdom of heaven. And I was like, I wanted to know the truth. So my dreaming body stepped through and this all disappeared. And the only thing that was left was infinity. Infinity, infinite consciousness, infinite love and light. The universe is made of love and intent. It sounds weird to say that, but love and intent. So everything is pure love, and then there's an intention. And so when one is in alignment with that, you get that the universe is all divine God love speaking to us. Everything is love and intent in motion. And that's how I end my suffering, because, I had PTSD after that years later, and I suffered. It was terrible. I was suffering, man. There's no doubt about it. But what brought me out of that was, first of all, a lot of intensive therapy and an amazing doctor. And knowing, returning to, remembering, going through all my journals. Like, thank God I wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote back then, because I went through all my journals, and my journals led me back to God and the fact that everything is God consciousness and everything is magical and infinite. And yeah, so I don't feel like I suffer. I'm not perfect. Like, obviously I have days where I might be sad or depressed or whatever, but there's the observer part of myself that's never suffering, that's eternal, that's connected to the divine light, and that part never ever suffers. So that part is where I continue to return to, and every single moment I am reverent. I'm in reverence of the magic and the beauty of everything that is God, that is God. Like, that everything is. And I mean, we have like this, everybody has I don't want to say everybody, but like, people have this kind of preconceived idea of what we say when we say God. Like, I don't believe in the God that like a lot of the books or the Bibles or whatever talk about, like a fearing God and all this. Like, I just saw infinite consciousness, and it was conscious, and it was infinite, and it was far greater than me. I'm just this little non-existent speck of dust, like not even smaller than that. And I am humbled. I'm humbled beyond comprehension for the magnitude and the size of this consciousness. And oh man, you can't help but be in a state of profound gratitude when you know that everything is God consciousness. because everything is being given to us. So after that, my dreaming body was wide awake. I was like, oh my God, it was so wild, man. I was walking around in a state of bliss for 3 months. No mind, no past, no future. Just one in the moment, one with all things. And, like, it was just magical. At the same time, like the topic that I started talking about, how to navigate or balance the spiritual and the physical, I was far too way over in the spiritual. I don't want to say that in like a negative sense. Like, I don't think it was negative to be there, but I just was so connected that I did so crazy shit, man. And I feel sorry for my husband and one of the people around. My God, he thought I was nuts. I guess I was kind of nuts, but I wouldn't even tell him I was going out because I just knew he would be fine, and I knew the girls, my daughters, were fine. They were there with him, and I just leave the house. I just walk like, what the hell, poor guy. I just leave. I come back like an hour later. You'd be like, where were you? I went for a walk. And he said, why didn't you tell me? I was like, because I knew you would be fine. He's like, but I didn't know I was going to be fine. And I didn't know where you were. I didn't know if you were fine. Like, fuck. Oh my God. I'm like, it's all good. We're all love. Everything's love. Everything's made of love. Yeah. So I spend a lot of time grounding and really, getting it together. I then had PTSD and realized I was quite disassociated for good chunks of my life. So that actually is something very interesting. So being disassociated outside of my body, I had such bad traumas and stuff like that I just basically wasn't in my body for many, many, many years. But like, what I mean by how everything is love, like somebody might be like, well, that's terrible. That's terrible. It's based on trauma, and like, how could that be a good thing? But it was a good thing because it actually had me be in the spirit realm. I wasn't in my body, so where was I? I was in another dimension, and I was in my imagination a lot of the times, and I was, and of course somebody might say that, oh, that direct experience with infinity was your imagination, but it wasn't, because, and yes, I could, yeah, totally could have been my imagination, but I met with a quantum physicist and in California 2 months after that experience, and he validated everything that I experienced with scientific terms that I didn't know. I'm not a scientist, so I had no idea about any of that. So it was a actual experience. I actually had a real direct experience. And another really cool thing that proved to me that it was an actual real spiritual experience, and it wasn't just an imagination, was because how can I imagine infinity? How can I imagine eternity? Like, you can't imagine eternity. You can't really imagine that. Like, sure, you could say you're imagining it, but I'm directly experiencing it. So I was seeing infinity and infinite, like eternalness. And it actually did almost make me crazy after when I came back here, because the bliss of eternal love, the magnitude of that, and then coming back here was like taking the most freaking mind-blowing drug you could possibly imagine and then not having the drug. And so I knew how to be in that space, fortunately, so I could get my fix whenever I wanted. But 2 years after, when I really got back down to earth and more in my body, and I had to go see my doctor, psychotherapist, because I didn't know how to survive or handle life after that. It was very difficult. Um, but yes, balancing the two, that's where the magic is. Like there's a lot of spiritual teachers out there that only talk about one or two aspects of spirituality. Like Eckhart Tolle, he talks about stillness. Stillness is one aspect of many parts because there's motion. There's also motion. Like we are in this dance of life, and we like what's his name? Satguru, I think his name is. He talks about like he's a yogi, so he does yoga, and that's motion. So there's Eckhart Tolle talking about stillness, and then Satguru talking about motion. I believe you need both, and there's other ones too. I can't think of them right now, but I think that when you see everything as God expressed, it puts you into that heightened state that we're all looking for because of reverence, that deep and profound respect for things. That reverence creates a humbleness, a humility, a respect for others, a love for others. My husband said something to me once that was one of the most amazing. He didn't know how freaking amazing this was. But I was upset that I was reading those Carlos Castaneda books, and I needed guidance, man. I was like lucid dreaming, and I was doing things that I had no teachers to help me guide me. So I was complaining to him one day, and he said, well, what if you never get a teacher? And I was like, well, that would suck. And he was like, no, seriously, it's more than possible. Because how many people have these experiences like Carlos Castaneda, with Don Juan? And I was like, well, that would really be shitty. And you're right, though, because, yeah, what are the chances of me meeting somebody that would be like an amazing teacher like that? And he said, well, who's your favorite teacher? Like who would, if you could choose out of all the masters on this planet, who would you choose? Well, I was raised Christian, and my uncles and my dad were really into theology, and so they were always talking about like the real man Jesus, and like all sorts of different aspects of the Bible that historical events and whatnot. And so I always looked at Jesus as a man, and in the Bible, said things like that we would do far greater things than him, and that we were all children of God. And he was very humble and did not talk about being like the one and only. I know a lot of Christians are going to disagree with me, but he wanted us to become super conscious beings like him. So I was like, well, you know what? Don Juan would be an amazing teacher. He's so cool. And Jesus would be cool. And he said, okay, well, let's just pick Jesus. He said, why don't you just look at everybody like they're Jesus from now on? Like, look, he says, you don't know who, like we talked about the second coming and all that. He was like, you don't know who the second coming is. And I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. And he was like, yeah. He's like, so why don't you just look at everyone like they're Jesus. And after that, I did. And I spent many years doing that. And I spent many years profoundly in this deep state of profound reverence for others, and that they are my teachers. And even when I had my daughters, I used to bow out to them at night and thank them, because they're my little masters. They're teaching me. I never was a mother before. So every day I was learning how to be a mother, how to be selfless, how to, be caring, how to put them first. I mean, I had to put myself first. Obviously, I had to be healthy and take care of myself to be a good mother. And I was always doing self-growth work and everything so that I could be like, a good role model for them. But I mean, honestly, like until this day, I look at them with deep and profound reverence, and they teach me. They do teach me. And so does everybody. I don't know it all. I don't know everything. I've had some pretty cool experiences, and I have met some really dark forces. I have met also infinite love and light. I really danced with the devil, and I have transmuted a lot of darkness into light and help really dark demonic beings evolve into the light. They honestly think that they're helping us, these dark beings, but they're just highly mistaken. We don't need them like they think we need them. And when you ask them things like, do you know how old I am? They get all squirrely and crazy and weird because they think you're just a little kid. Like when they latched onto you. Look at that. Now I have two little hands. Okay, now I'm going to start doing polymer clay on them. I wish I knew what all these little things meant on my boards and stuff like that. Like at the top of YouTube, it says how many people. Right now, there's only one person. Hello, mystical woman. Hi. Conqueror. Hello, Conqueror. I think you're the only one in here, Conqueror. Conqueror Y19639. I lost Isaac and I lost Akita. Unless one of them are here and the other people are gone. And then in TikTok, I have no idea how many people are here, but I got 16 hearts. So much love. Oh, Isaac, you're the only one. I love you. Thank you. Yeah, so got any questions? Let's get dialogue going on here. Because being a lucid dreamer and having all those spiritual experience and stuff like that have just become so normal. Like it's normal for me. So, I mean, someone who hasn't had those experiences might have some questions or might be wondering about something that I maybe not thought of to say. Yeah, I'll tell you about my one and only time that I astral projected. No, I actually astral projected 2 times. But the other times, like, I wasn't sure, but these 2 times I was for sure I astral projected. So, I was practicing trying to leave my body for quite some time, and I'm going to stick something in here so they stay together. Yeah, so anyway, Is there any way I could keep this together? This wire's too thick. I'm going to just use a little elastic. Yeah, so anyway, you know that feeling when you're falling? You ever get that feeling when you're falling? Oh, okay. Where do you find the line between intimacy with others and reality shifting? Where do you find the line between intimacy with others and reality shifting? Can you expand on that? What do you mean by that? Okay. Well, I will talk about intimacy first, because everything is an expression of the one God, divine, infinite consciousness, love and light. Conqueror, who are you? Do I know you? I don't know what that name. Do we know each other? Or are you just some amazing, wild person out there in the world that I just met? Okay, so do you find that being close with others shifts us from our central point in the infinite? Okay, that is a very, very, very good question. Okay, so how I keep profoundly centered and spiritually grounded and connected to the infinite is by seeing that everything is divine consciousness, that everything is an expression of that divine love. So, what is the most important thing in the world to me is my relationship to that divine whole. You don't know me. This is an amazing live stream which randomly got recommended to me. Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you. Well, I'm so happy for you to be here. Awesome, 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 awesome. And if you have questions, then let's talk about stuff. Like, I love having these conversations with people. So this is great. Yeah, so everything is it's like, it's easy for me because I directly experience infinity, and I directly experience that God consciousness that is all things behind the veil of all of this. So the way I look at it, though, it's like I'm one being, but I have the finger, I have a fingernail, I have cells, I have a heart, I have lungs, I have ribs. Like, these are all different pieces of me. These are all different aspects of the one whole. So this is one aspect of the whole. This is another aspect of the whole. This is another aspect of the whole. You are an aspect of the whole. You know, my laptop, my phone, this cup, this liquid that's going to go down my throat. This is an aspect of the whole. And we have a relationship with each one of these things, right? My relationship to this is, it's an amazing medium that allows the expression of who I am to come out into my creations. So it's like God divine, like I am a creation of the God divine, and through me, I can express that divinity. So my relationship to the whole is my most profound relationship. And my relationship with that is the first and foremost relationship I have. In the morning, I wake up, I meditate, I connect to it. I'm grateful for the infinite consciousness. I'm grateful for the universe that has been gifted to me. The earth has been gifted to me. All of you beings are gifts to me. Like everything is a gift to me. Like even just saying it, I feel like I want to cry because of the gratitude, the depth of love I have for this infinite love that is surrounding me, supporting me. And I know I've had dark experiences, and honestly, like, I know it's such a simple saying, but like everything, something good comes out of everything. A lot of growth was had and a lot of evolution was had through all of my experiences. So ultimately everything is a gift. So so Isaac's question is, do you find being close with others shifts us from our central point in the infinite? It can. It can. And it does, especially for me. I had very toxic relationships. So it's crazy. It's crazy to me because like I can have such deep, profound reverence and one, like I'm one with everything. Like not all the time. I have like moments where I'm not one with everything, but it's just this, like, I'm surrounded by this love. When I was in toxic relationships, those did pull me away from that center. So a relationship, people, anything can pull you away from that center. And the trick is not to be drunk on this 3D. Like humanity is drunk on the 3D. Acquiring things is like a drunk thing. Like we're drunk on this 3D. We're like, what we believe is what's tangible and real. Like that's like being intoxicated by this by the physicality of things. And when you can get that there is way more that we can't see, there's way more that we can experience that is like, there's the angelic realms, there are the spirit realms, there's the ancestors. We have like all sorts of freaky guides helping us. I have a griffin and a dragon. They're like my familiars, and they've done some pretty wild shit to protect me. We are so magical. We're so magical. And so what is in your mind, don't let anyone tell you that it's just your imagination. Because when you're in your mind, you're literally tapping into infinite consciousness. Like we could get ideas from nowhere. Well, where is that coming from? Infinite consciousness. Everything that exists and ever will and forever has and forever will exists in that conscious, infinite conscious mind. And we get drunk. Relationships are very much something that we can get drunk on. And it can definitely pull us away. So to me, I will never date anyone again unless they are on the same channel as me, 1,000%. Like they have to believe in God consciousness. They have to believe in the spirit realms like I do. They have to respect that, or I have no interest in being with them. There has to be that, because my relationship with that divine whole is the most important thing in my world. And because I have that, it actually keeps me in a beautiful state of reverence. And that reverence is what actually, it keeps me in a state of gratitude, which is a very, very high vibrational state. So, What is your worldview overall, if you could summarize in brief? Your ideas are very similar to some Eastern belief systems. My worldview overall is that we are souls having human experiences. I'm more soul than I am human. I'm more infinite than I am finite. That I think that anytime anyone is putting down another religion or culture or thought system or whatever, you are closing yourself off to the magic and beauty that that view has to offer, because we are God express, and there's over 8 billion people. So there's going to be 8 billion views. The way society has become very, like, we shun people, and like people online have no problem insulting other people, and like it's just so sad to me, because shunning people, like, I do get it, like if you're a real, Nazi or something like that, like, yeah, nobody wants to talk to you, nobody wants to hang out with you. But this whole cancel culture, like, if my view is not the view, the most accepted view, or goes against somebody's views, and I get like actual canceled for that, like that's horrifying to me. That is kind of like, that kind of is like Nazism, because as soon as you're shutting people up and you're not allowing people to have the freedom of voice, their voice, like that's kind of scary. Scary. It's like a witch hunt. It's like, we haven't evolved. I thought we evolved. But my worldview, I mean, what do you mean by worldview? My worldview is that we are all God expressed. We are all divine, beautiful, conscious, beautiful, amazing beings. We all have gifts to give. We all are, we're magical. We're just magical beings. Yeah. Yeah. We don't want to talk to them. Yeah, no kidding. Hi, Shaolin, my other daughter. How to have experience like you and realize all that you have is, there's some practical pathway. How to have experiences like me. Well, I don't know if you got the first part of this stream. When I was a child, I had brutal nightmares, and I spent many years trying to fall asleep and stay awake at the same time. And what I didn't realize was I was actually going into deep states of meditation. And so as a 12-year-old, I was meditating every night, all night, to try to stay awake while I was falling asleep. And same with my little sister. And so we became crazy, wild, lucid dreamers. So I don't know how else to become a lucid dreamer. I've seen lots of videos and stuff like that online. You could go online, and I know for every person it's different. Like, my way might not work for somebody else, but like a lot of these, there's some lucid dreamer experts on YouTube, and I'm sure on TikTok. I haven't really looked on TikTok. Give you like all sorts of techniques and stuff like that. Carlos Castaneda, in those books, Don Juan, says to wear a tight ring, and it keeps you kind of grounded in this physical realm. And also to really look at your hand before you go to sleep, and look for your hand and you're dreaming. And when you are able to look for your hand and see your hand, I have done it many times, but it's wild, because my hand will turn into like some weird thing, or like something unbelievable happens that pulls me away. So it's like there's these forces in the universe that don't want us to be conscious. I do believe there are beings in the universe that are like, no way, man. Like, for us to become conscious is terrible, because then, the dark beings will be seen, and then they'll have to evolve, and they'll have to be transformed, and they'll have to, go into the light, and they don't want to do that. I think that they're just, they live off of fear, and they live in fear, and they don't know anything else other than that. So I do feel like we can help them evolve. What I would say, oh, I'm off to rehearsal, but believe that lucid dreaming is the key to understanding the infinite. Yep. It is actually unbelievable. So have fun at your rehearsal, Isaac. Thank you for joining me. Bye. Yeah. What was I saying? Where were we? Maybe you have any other questions? Meditation. Can you please show us some of the creative things you've made? I can't right now because I don't really have anything right now. Oh, what I'm making right now? Okay. Yeah, I guess you came into the stream a little later, but death. I am making death. So this is the skull, and I have bedazzled it. It's a puppet. And the whole inside here broke. So the whole thing, I dismantled it, and there was a lot of things that I realized weren't working. So these little hands are jiggly and crap. So I'm making them actually wired. So I'll be able to move them and put them into positions and whatnot. Okay, so there's the head. Put it here so you can see it. And there's the ribs. And the pelvis. Yeah. And death is a main character in my comic book series, Infinity's Dream, that's going to be coming out in probably this spring. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And oh, did I not show you well enough over there in TikTok? And then the pelvis. Yeah, so I have all the leg bones and everything. And I'm going to bedazzle it all. And I decided to come here and live stream with you all every night. Hopefully not every night, because Thursday nights I have other things going on, the weekends and stuff like that. But I want to come on here every night, do at least a couple of hours or an hour of work on these, because I want to launch my comic in the spring. I mean, ideally, the most magical time to launch it would be March 11th, because 26 years ago on March 11th is the night, the night at 11, just after 11 o'clock. Maybe it was 11. That would have been cool. I don't know, because we were at a retreat, so we didn't have the time. But that's when I saw Infinity. So it'd be kind of cool to do it exactly on that day, like the anniversary, 26 years. Yeah. And in numerology, 26 makes an 8. And so that's actually the sign of infinity. So it would be launching in the year of infinity. That'd be a good idea, right? Yeah, so. Yeah, so my comic is all about the whole story about how I met many demons, how I helped them transcend I don't want to say I'm a demon slayer, but I didn't slay them. I helped them evolve. I'm a demon evolution. I want to come up with a good name for that. A demon transformer? No, that sounds silly. Oh, I got 69 hearts. Love it. All right. So I got pretty much like the base of the hands. So the reason why I'm doing it with the wiring and stuff like that was because like I was trying to make a ball jointed doll, but I actually never made a ball jointed doll before. And I'm making dolls for my comic because, well, I don't want to really say how it's going to look in my comic, but one of the main things that I started, really why I started making dolls for my comic, was because eventually I would love to sell dolls because, you know, if my comic gets popular, then I'll have action figures and I'll have dolls and stuff like that to sell. But it's because I'm a pretty good artist, but when it comes to drawing the same thing over and over and over, I suck. So if I have dolls, then demon taxi driver to the other side. Yeah. Demon cab driver, demon Uber. Come on, people. Creative. Get creative with me. Come on. Throw me some names. I'm not a demon slayer. I help demons evolve. I help them go to the light. Cab driver. I would say, yeah, I could be a cab driver for them, but I'm not the one who's actually taking them. It's it's the angelic realms that actually take them. So I'm thinking now of different names. All right. Anyone else have a question? Well, it says you said you wanted to see some of the creative things that I made. This is one of them, but I am actually wanting to post more online. I'm really disappointed in Instagram because I had an art page. Someone hacked it, changed the email, and I was never able to get back into it again. So someone out there has my Instagram account with all my art on it. Fuckers. I can't, like, how rude. Right? Like, how rude. What happens when you totally stop believing in magic? How do you get back into it? Okay. I did do that. So I saw infinity. I walked in the Tao for 3 months. Solid, straight up, one with all things, in a really heightened state of awareness, enlightened, nirvana, whatever you want to call it. And then I had what I thought they were my friends were actually like putting me down and saying things like, who are you? Who, oh, you are so enlightened and all this. And I was just like, I remember looking at them. It was kind of weird too, because I was like, why is God saying that to me. Like I wasn't seeing anyone as like human. I was just seeing everyone as God expressed. And I was totally like, why is God talking? Like, why is God saying these things to me? Why is God, I don't understand. It's so, made me so weird. Like, it was weird. And anyway, the drama got worse and worse and worse and worse. Now, this is the thing. I could see the dark beings playing on everyone, and none of the dark beings wanted me to not be living in fear, because then they have nothing to feed on. So Don Juan calls them flyers, and so that's what I'm going to call them, because that's really what it felt like to me. But I really, really did feel like and believe and saw and experience these beings trying to keep me from being in that light. In fact, I actually had black helicopters following me. And years later, I met somebody who worked for the military, the American military. And he actually was one of the people that was there in Oswell, I think it's called, or Area 51 or 54 or whatever. And where that spaceship crashed. And I said to him, am I actually being followed by black helicopters? Like, what the hell's going on? And he was like, yep. He said they have actually like this massive, like, whole screen of like the earth. And when somebody lights up like you have, or let's say creates infinite energy, which they don't want us to do, they investigate. And so he said, as soon as somebody lights up, it shows up the same on that light board as would like if I created infinite energy, all of a sudden. So they don't want that. So he said, yep, they're following you around. So I had that, and I had dark beings working through others who were not as aware or conscious, really trying to take me down. And it was pretty brutal. It was mean and brutal, but I didn't see it that way at the time. I was in love and light. I saw them as God, and I just was a little confused and didn't know why they were doing that. And so, yeah, so after about 2 years, it was very much at a point where I just wanted to be normal again. I just wanted to be like everyone else. I just wanted to go back to what I had before I had that experience. I wanted to just be more human. Very unfortunate, but I just was like, I just want to be human. And so I turned my back on all spirituality. I willed myself to stop dreaming, and I did eventually stop dreaming. I ended up leaving my marriage. I worked in a tattoo shop. And because I had turned my back on everything, and I was so like, it almost destroyed me. I was smoking marijuana all day long. I was drinking a lot. I went down a really dark path of kind of like self-sabotage and trying to actually annihilate myself, really, until I got to a point where I became extremely suicidal. I almost offed myself. And the reason why I didn't off myself was because I smoked a doob, and I was having a beer, and I thought, like, this is it. It's my last night. And I went into the shed to look for my carpet knife, because I was going to go, and do it that way. And I forgot what I was looking for. And I was like, what am I looking for? Why did I come in here? Because I was high. Then when I realized, I actually fell on my knees on the ground and realized I had turned my back on God and all of what I knew and all the magic and everything. And I needed psychological help. And I started trauma therapy and realized that I had a lot of trauma from when I was a child, that I did a lot of spiritual bypassing. And I don't, if anyone doesn't know what that is, it's when I see it happen in spiritual circles a lot, when it's like, you're, let's say you're venting or you're being negative or whatever. Everybody's like, just be positive and raise your vibration. Everything's going to be great. Well, I did that for years and years, thinking that I was going to just get enlightened and, raise my vibration, raise it, raise it until I got enlightened. And I actually did. I got enlightened, but there was all that shit underneath. And what I realized was all of the people that were around me that were negative and coming at me and insulting me and being crappy to me were actually that shadow part of me that I did not deal with, that was deep down. It was like little urges from the universe trying to get my attention, trying to get me to see where I didn't have self-worth, where I was not like loving myself, where I was disconnected from, like I was allowing people to hurt me. I was allowing these things. Like I had too much compassion to the point of just a lot of it didn't make sense. Now, after all of this, I did a lot of psychotherapy. I went back to reprogramming the mind, being a word warrior. Everything you think is, it's magic. Like everything we do is magic. And so after doing all of that work, I brought myself to being magical by remembering that I am one with all things, remembering that reverence, that deep, profound love for all things, remembering that everything is an expression of divine love. And at one point in my therapy, like I'd forgotten how to have fun. There was no magic. And I was standing there in my kitchen and I was just looking out into space and I was praying to the angels, please, praying to infinite God, like anything, anyone, anything, anything, please help me. Like I want to bring back the magic and the love and the fun. And then I was like, wait a minute, like I'm all by myself. I live by myself. And I thought about when I was a kid, all of a sudden, when I was by myself as a kid. I was hardly ever by myself because I have two sisters, but like I was like, even when my mom and dad went out and my older sister was babysitting me and my younger sister, like what did I like to do for fun? And I thought of forts and how we used to build forts. And then I realized, like, wait a minute, like I have all these rooms in this house. Like each room is like a fort. And then my mind kind of scanned through the house and all of the art supplies I had and all of the things that I could actually create like forts from. Like I could actually play, and it brought back a spark. So for anyone who has lost that spark, like really go back to your child, man. There's that woundedness that happens as children and all through our life, teenagers, whatever, stays with us. And you have to go back. You have to go do the shadow work. You have to go back and you have to, connect with that little child part. And you have to explain to them that, every child makes this mistake of thinking it's their fault, but it's not your fault. Like life is larger than us, and grown-ups who are supposed to take care of us, or whatever happened that caused us pain and suffering as children, we took it on ourselves like it was our fault, and it's not. It's not. So there's like all these different things that we have to heal. And anyway, so when I started to go into every room, I started to realize, like, in dreams, a house represents always aspects of ourselves, and the different rooms are the different compartments, the um, different things in our reality, our head, and I started to think, oh my God, okay, so I'm going to start with the kitchen, and I'm going to create the most amazing kitchen I can with the little resources I had. And I started to realize that it's a relationship that we have with even a room, a relationship. Like, I have a relationship with this table. And how would I treat this if it were my child? How would I treat that kitchen if it were my child? How would I treat another person if it were my child? How would I be if that, like what my husband had told me, to like treat everyone like it was like Jesus or Don Juan or Buddha or whoever is your hero, you know? It's our relationship to things that brings the magic back. And when you start to give love to life and to people and to experiences and to things, and you start to love yourself like you are that, like that Jesus or that Buddha, or, you know, you start to have that kind of deep reverence for yourself. You are created from the creator. You are an aspect of infinite consciousness. You are this magical, beautiful, unique, wonderful being. And everyone on this planet is also that. I know there are people who are in jail, and they should be in jail because they've done horrendous things. I've had experiences with some real true psychopaths and sociopaths, and some real crazy people, man. And some of them are locked away forever. And I'm so happy, because that comes also from a place of love, because I'm protecting. That love is to protect them from themselves, from hurting other people. That love is about protecting the people that they might hurt. Anyway, the magic is all around us all the time, in everything. We just have to start really being reverent to it, and really seeing the profoundness and the beauty of the perfection of all things that is God expressed. And when you start to see that, miracles happen, manifestations happen, magic happens. Yeah, it's just like life becomes a magical wonderland, like when you're a child. And that's why children are so magical and fun, because they're the closest to God. They were in the body of the whole before they were conceived and born. I remember that from my own experiences. I remember staying, I made a promise to myself I was going to stay conscious and remember it. And I do. I remember conception. I remember being as a fetus. I remember being born. I remember being a baby. And I remember calling that God consciousness the before. And when my little sister was born, I used to whisper in her ear all the time, don't forget, don't remember the before, remember the before. And so I did eventually kind of forget, obviously. But then when I went back to infinity, it was the before. And you're all magical, and I love you all, and thank you for joining me. But I have been on for an hour and 40 minutes, and unless you have another question, I don't know, kind of run out. I feel like I'm talking in circles at this point. Am I? I don't know, maybe not. But I think that I'm going to head out, and I will come back again. Not tomorrow. I won't be here tomorrow, but maybe Friday, probably Friday. And my heart is with you because we are one, and I have nothing but love for you, and I appreciate you, and I'm so blessed that you came and joined me. And subscribe, follow my channel, friend me, and message me. We could have conversations. We could just continue. I love this. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love you. And I still don't know how to end my streams on TikTok. Strangely, like there's no actual like end button here. It's easy. It says end stream. On TikTok, it does not. So, like yesterday, I just tapped a bunch of stuff, and is it this little clock thing at the top? Anyway, goodbye. I love you. See you later. Adios, amigos.